I'm just going to start recording because we had such a lively conversation, and your laughter, I was like, I wish I was recording right now. Hey everybody, Kelly Orchard here, the Badass Certifier with Mustang Monday. In the seat to give a badass tip from the street is none other than Patrick Kelley from the Murrieta School District. He's the superintendent, so he's the bigwig. So thank you so much. It's so nice to have you here.
Oh, thank you, Kelly.
And I was asking him about, is it, it's like, because I understand the respectfulness of the word badass, and that sometimes it might be shocking to ask him. I was like, so you're gonna be able to say that word on my video? And we had a really good laugh about it.
Well, some of my peeps are elementary school kids, so I'm going to keep it at that level.
I appreciate that you're keeping it that.
We'll let you have it, but I love the work that your organization does.
Thank you. Well, the license to be badass is, and I love that you love it because it is for confidence building and self-esteem, and basically to share that, I use positive psychology. Basically, it's like, you are what you think. Mm-hmm. And, it's like, as far as badass goes, it's more about an attitude of positivity. Like, yes, I have been through the storms of life, and I'm not giving up. I am going to keep trying and keep working at it. And that's what makes us badass, is that we don't quit.
Right.
And I love that you love that, and I appreciate that the word has to be a little subdued for some. I've had, like, mayor and city council people and stuff like that tell me, I'm not saying that word on video. Okay, that's fine. I appreciate it. So what is your tip for today? We talked about, I had inquired about, it's like maybe you could say something about school and leadership and whatnot, but you have such a vast experience. I would love to hear you.
Well, what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk a little bit about my wife and I and our personal experience and how it really has shaped us, not just as parents who have lived and raised kids in this community for 30 years, but how it's then shaped me and my wife, who's a teacher as well, in our educator roles as professionals. So, we moved here back in the late 80s, early 90s, and had 3 kids very quickly and raised our 3 kids in this wonderful school system, in this wonderful valley, and there were just so many positive things. Well, you can imagine our 3 kids kind of turned out, when they have 2 parents who are educators, they kind of turned out a lot like us. They went through the system well, they did well, they liked school, they were wired very much that way. And we learned that, this parenting thing, this guiding kids through school thing, is pretty easy. And those who aren't doing it as well, there must be something wrong. And then we had the biggest change in our life back in 2004 when we decided that we were going to adopt another child.
Wow, okay.
And so we adopted a little 6-year-old boy from Russia, spoke not a word of English. That little boy is now 22, almost 23 years old.
Yeah.
And being on a journey with him has shaped us so mightily as parents and as educators about what's important to have in an education system, what's important to have just in a belief system about the potential and possibility and the beautiful uniqueness of individuals, because you're wired and you're created differently for reasons, and those need to be celebrated in every aspect and every respect.
How was the adjustment, and how was it different raising a child? Was he from Russia?
He was from Russia.
Okay,
so
and he's 6 years old, and yet your own biological children. How was it different for you?
Well, once again, when our 3 kids, our 3 bio kids are wired very much like us,
right?
You very quickly and easily
no
see
problem.
how they're like you, they're like you,
but this one different,
and you can do it. But someone who's completely different, where school wasn't their thing, academics weren't their thing, but a great kid and a great heart. And so you have to learn, we learned a number of key things, that how critical it was for every kid, no matter who they are and how they come, they need to be connected to their school with their thing. And he was blessed with being a great little athlete. And so sports was his thing, and he needed it to get on through. And so when he graduated high school about 5 years ago, he barely made it across that line with a 2.2 GPA, but we were so proud of him.
Yeah.
Because he put in what he could.
Right.
But it was that connector that kept him in there. What it's done since, and the path for him since, is he was planning on going into the military, and he wasn't able to pursue that due to a medical concern. And since he has lined himself up within the trades and trade industries, and so he's working hard through an electrician's apprenticeship program. And I think that's one of the pieces that has shaped me as an educator tremendously, that those students, we do a good job with those kids who are heading on to colleges, who are typical routine colleges. But what we don't do as well, and what we need to do better, is to honor those kids who are heading into those trades.
Trade schools, right.
Because those skills, our economy needs that to make the world go round. And it uniquely fits into kids, and so we have to celebrate. We have to celebrate those kids who are wired that way.
Well,
and we haven't always done that well.
I'm glad that you bring that up too, because my son, right? He's my biological son, but he didn't get money smarts. I mean, he is smart, but not academically. So he's 28 now.
Street smart.
He's street smart. He's 28 now. He got his mama smarts, but he's 28 now, and he too was not bound for college.
Right.
And so it took a while for him to figure out what he wanted to do. And he ended up getting accepted for a trade school at the community college for culinary.
Yeah.
And so he became a certified chef, and then he became a kitchen manager.
Yeah.
And so now he's a manager, and he didn't go through the regular college route. He did the trade school and it's perfectly appropriate. It's fantastic. You're right.
And we have to remember that, and I say this every year when I shake the hands of 2,000 graduating seniors who are graduating from high school, every single one of them is not complete yet. They need more. They need some more education. But that education can come in a lot of different ways. It doesn't have to be your traditional four-year college. Our community colleges are great. Our trade schools are great. Military offers an amazing opportunity. Apprenticeships. That is what is critical. And I think one of the things that's important that as educators we need to do a better job at is, it is incumbent on us to help guide and gear kids toward jobs, toward careers that our industry, that our economy is going to support. When you and I finished high school years and years ago, you could go on and get kind of a generalized college education, and you could go into a lot of different things. Our economy doesn't work that way in today's world. It might change and it might shift, but increasingly our economy is looking for individuals who bring a certain skill set and a certain talent with a certain thing. They want to know what you can do today to help their business.
Right.
And so that increasingly is trades, skill sets, certifications, and I think some of our very best and brightest may not need to go on to those traditional college educations anymore to be extremely successful in today's world.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%, and I'm so glad that we're talking about this today. This is a great tip. So if you were to give one, let's just say you're high school seniors who are graduating this coming year, and would you say to them specifically, I mean, in context with what you just were talking about?
Okay, well, first I'd tell them, don't wait till you're a senior.
Okay. All right, well, there you go. See,
start early. And
shows your mind's worth it.
Parents and families, begin talking about those things that, what is your kid and your child inclined toward? What is their special skill set?
Yeah.
Don't try to force them to what they're not.
Yes.
But to celebrate where they are, but to open those doors. And like I said, in this area, we do that college thing pretty easy. It's pretty easy to navigate that. But we learned as parents, it wasn't as easy to navigate the trades and apprenticeships and union work through the electrical union, which our son is in. and you had to learn those things. And so you want to start early in regards to what are those connections.
Do you have programs at the school that start that out?
We do. So increasingly, we start in the middle school with that exposure to careers and interests and those types of things. And there are milestones at each grade level, all the way till graduating. And in Murrieta, it's one of the programs that I am most proud of, is we have a senior culminating project. And in order to graduate, it's a graduation requirement. Student has to stand up in front of a panel of adults, present, make a presentation in regards to, here's my direction. This is where I'd like to go. This is how I'm going to take my first steps. And the beauty of it is, we don't have you do it to say you're locked into it, because life changes.
Right.
And so we have our students talk about, hey, what's your main plan and what's your main passion and how are you going to take those steps, and what else could there be should this not work out? Because as we know, a year, 2 years, 3 years after graduation, things change.
Yeah.
Things always change, and you have to be nimble, and you have to shift. And that's an okay thing, but you just have to know it just doesn't happen, and you just can't assume it's going to happen. You have to be thinking about it and plan for it and be thoughtful toward it and get connected to people.
Badass is an acronym. And so I go through the acronym, and so the S, the first S, is steadfastly stay the course. But also in there is, but be nimble. Yeah. And I love that you just said that. It was like, stay the course, but be nimble. That's part of my program. Yeah. That's part of the Badass program. It's like, the other S is the successful.
Yes.
So it's like, so be bold and be yourself.
That's
so
right.
Learn about yourself. So that's what you're teaching too, is learn what you like to do first. Encourage your kids to learn what they like to do first. That's a good career move, and then the rest, I go into the rest. But I love that you said be nimble.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, that's the word. Be willing to make a change.
That's
or just
right.
like be, Jack, be nimble.
That's right.
Yeah, Jack, be quick.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just something that's critical to be successful in today's world.
Yeah.
What a
great badass tip. Thanks, Patrick Kelley from the Murrieta School District. He's the superintendent, and I hope that he convinces all of his teachers and principals to watch this video, because that would get my numbers up, and I'd love that.
Alrighty.
All right. So thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you, Kelly.
I do have a tagline, and I'm going to say it, but you're going to just repeat after me, and don't repeat what you can't say. I'm Kelly Orchard, the Badass Certifier, reminding you to be bold.
Be bold.
Be brave.
Be brave.
Be confident.
Be confident.
Be badass.
All right.
See you
Be
later.
it.